Hey, what's happening guys? It's about now call for iGyaan, and today we're going to be answering a few questions, checking out the benchmarks and hardware on the Redmi 1S, and then in the end we're going to be doing a bit of gaming and figuring out if this device is actually worth your while. So stay tuned, we have a lot ahead in this video. So we recently unboxed the Xiaomi Redmi 1S or Redmi 1S, and this phone brought about a bunch of questions by you guys. So here are a couple of answers to those questions. The first question that we got was whether or not this phone has a notification LED. So not only does this phone have a notification LED light, but you can also customize this light and have it run in different colors for different things. So you can have a different notification light, you can have a different color call or a missed call light, and you can even have a different color SMS message light. So you can have different colors, and the LED can change colors like it could on BlackBerry devices back in the day. You can also see that the LED notification light is just under the home button over here. The next question that we got was whether or not these buttons, the Android interface buttons, are backlit, and unfortunately it appears that these buttons are not backlit. So that is one thing which is definitely a downside on this. The next question that we got was relating to storage. So we get about 6.14 gigabyte of internal storage, out of which I have consumed about 5.4 gigabytes by downloading applications, mostly games and benchmarks, etc. So you do have that. I popped in a 32 gigabyte SD card in there, and that works pretty great. Unfortunately, you cannot transfer applications to the SD card, and there appears to be no system of doing so. We did not try third-party applications to try doing that because you possibly require a root to move apps to SD. So as far as the device is concerned, out of the box, you cannot shift or install applications directly onto the SD card. But 6.1 gigabyte is fairly good enough. We downloaded pretty big games. We downloaded 2 big games and 2 standard games, so we are pretty happy with the storage availability, and then you can store your media and images, etc. on the SD card. So let's go ahead and take a look at Quadrant Advanced in terms of benchmarks and see what this device is looking like. But first we'll pop into system information and see that this device is running Android 4.3, which was aware to us from the unboxing video. You'll see that it has an MSM 8226, more or less the Snapdragon 400, running at 1.6 gigahertz on quad cores. You'll see that we have just under 1 gigabyte of RAM, which is slightly different than we expected. We expected more than 1 gigabyte, but it's actually less. In the display, you get 1280 by 720p resolution, which again for the price bracket is pretty impressive. You also get the Adreno 305 GPU. If you come into sensors, a pretty good bunch of sensors: accelerometer, calibration library, and AKM. You also have a magnetometer, gyroscope, proximity sensor, light sensor, gravity sensor, acceleration sensor, bunch of sensors over there, so that's great. Let's go on ahead and run a full benchmark. So the full benchmark score comes in at 10,945, which is pretty impressive. And if you look at the detailed result over here, you can see that it scores pretty decent in terms of everything except for the 2D graphics, which is pretty low. Let's go on ahead and check out what this device fares like in Ninamark. So in Ninamark, we get 57 frames per second, which is also pretty impressive. It's time to run an Antutu benchmark. The funny thing is the minute you power on Antutu on this device, essentially the Antutu benchmark quotes, good job, welcome to the world of high-end smartphones, which is funny because essentially it's not a high-end smartphone, but maybe the Antutu score will say otherwise. It already gets a rank of 3 out of 5. So let's go on ahead and run a full benchmark to see what the score is like. So after the full benchmark, we get a score of 21369. And if you go into the detailed score, you can see over here the detailed score. Mostly everything is good. Database in and out, and a CPU float point along with the RAM speed seem to be the limiting factors, but more or less 20,000 and above for this price bracket is pretty impressive. So that's really great. The next thing we're going to do is check out gaming on this bad boy. So we'll start off with basic games like Subway Surfers, and let's see how that fares. So honestly, the first thing that I noticed right off the bat is that the speaker could have been much louder. It's also located in a place where it sort of gets muffled easily. But in this portrait scheme of things, when you're holding and playing a game in portrait, the speaker will not get muffled up, so no issues with that. But I have a feeling that in landscape it might, and the way that I am holding the device, the speaker does get slightly muffled up, so that is slightly disappointing, and the speaker could have been much louder than it is, so one thing that is definitely a letdown. The game performance is good, graphics are great, touch response is excellent, so no problems with that. Next game I'm going to check is Virtua Tennis. Again, we feel that the speaker could have been louder, although the graphics on the game and overall touch responsiveness as well as the responsiveness from the game is pretty impressive, so no complaints with that. Next, I'm going to check out Asphalt. The first thing I'm going to do is bump it into high visual quality versus the medium that it picks it up as, so it's not reading the full graphics on this, and that's definitely going to be a problem. So after restarting the game, I definitely feel a bit of lag while playing this game. Response is not that great, so if you put it in high graphics, it's not going to run well. But if you put it in medium graphics, it works really, really well. So you have to figure that out for yourself. This device will not run Asphalt 8 on high graphics. Overall, it does render the graphics pretty well. It does not run smooth, but it renders the graphics pretty well. You can see detailed smoke as well as effects. You do see glare and crashes as well in a lot of detail, so that's great. Overall, for a price of 6,000 rupees, I don't think you can ask for much more, and the game runs flawlessly on medium graphics, so you might want to run it on that for a better gaming performance. While playing Asphalt, I felt that the game was not responsive enough, so I felt that it could be a problem with the screen. So we ran a multi-touch test, and we found that every time I tapped on the screen, I got a different score. So the first time I got 5, the next time I got 7, and then finally it stopped at 9 and it refused to go to 10 touch points. So it appears that this device, instead of 10, has 9-point multi-touch screen, or the app is just not compatible with this screen, so it's not accurately telling me how many touch points it has. So, but in our test, we got 9. The last and final game I'm going to check out is Modern Combat 4. And this game runs really well on the Redmi 1S. You can see that graphics are loaded well. The response from the game is pretty impressive. Smoke and detailed gunshot as well as glare, etc. is loaded up pretty well. One thing that I will say is that the screen is really slippery as well as reflective. So an anti-glare screen protector will do wonders on this. The screen is really, really reflective. It picks up on any form of light. You can even see my fingers reflecting on the screen. So that is not a good sign. Outdoors is going to be a definite problem, and I'm yet to take it outdoors to see what it looks like. But more or less, it seems that the screen is going to be a problem, especially the kind of reflective glass that is on the top. So there you go, guys. This was a comprehensive video. Hopefully we answered some of your questions and you found out how gaming and hardware is on this guy. And of course, it does have a notification LED and no backlit buttons. But we'll be back with a full review for this really soon, so stay tuned for that. Of course, we're going to be doing a comparison with the Motorola Moto E, so stay tuned for that as well. So drop your questions in the comment section below, and we're going to try and cover them up for the next video. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Give this video a thumbs up because it helps us go a long way. And make sure you take part in our 1+1 invite giveaway that's going on iGyaan. For iGyaan Networks, this has been Bharat Nagpal. Check out the full details on iGyaan.in. Catch us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and hit that subscribe button, youtube.com/iGyaan, youtube.com/iGyaanTV. I'll see you guys in the next one.